embark the journey of learning about health in today's life skill session. First and foremost, we shall commence this session with chanting the name of the Almighty. I request everybody to rise up and join their hands for the prayer.
It's not only joining hands but closing your eyes as well.
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु बुद्धिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः shall be showers of blessing. This is the promise of love. There shall be seasons refreshing, sent from the Savior above. Showers of blessing, showers of blessings we need. Mercy drops round us are falling, but for the showers we plead. There shall be showers of blessing, precious reviving again. Over the hills and the valleys, sound of abundance of rain. Showers of blessing, showers of blessing we need. Mercy drops round us are falling, but for the showers we plead. But for the showers we plead. But for the showers we plead.
In the race of our bustling lives, we often forget to strike that balance of social, mental, and physical well-being. So today, we are here to advocate you about health and hygiene.
What do we know about health? Firstly, we know how we can be bad health, we can improve it. We know what our cast. Whenever we get a fracture, a hairline fracture, we are tied with a fracture. That the thing is called a fracture, and the cast is put around our hand. Hygiene. Why do we need hygiene? Why do we need to be hygienic? Anyone? What is hygiene and how can you be hygienic?
Hygiene is something which we have to maintain, if we are hygienic, there will be no illness for us, and to maintain hygiene we should clean our surroundings and we have a proper sanitation for self.
That was a good answer. We also know about vitamins and emotions, what exactly are our emotions, and a little bit about our mental health. So let us start with the introduction, where we will be telling you about hygiene, how hygiene practices are the bedrock of health, and how it is important to take care of not only ourselves from the outside, but as well as our mind to live a healthy life.
Now that we know what hygiene is, let us know what we are going to learn in this session. We learn what is health and its types, what are good habits that we should inculcate, personal hygiene, and how to feel happy and calm.
Before that, Everyone, please sit upright. Please sit with the correct posture. Nobody sleeping, nobody sitting casually. Thank you.
Well, what does health mean? The textbook definition would be health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. As defined by WHO, it encompasses various aspects of an individual's overall condition, including physical fitness, mental clarity, emotional stability, and social functioning. There are mainly 9 types of health: physical health, mental health, emotional health, social health, spiritual health, environmental health, occupational health, intellectual health, and financial health.
These types actually cover all the spheres of our life. It is really important for us to really take care of ourselves, because every single sphere of our life here as presented is important. So now we'll be seeing the benefits of taking care of ourselves. We request all of you to note down the 9 types of health as shown on the screen.
Before we dive into the benefits of health, let us see what physical health is. Well, when we say physical health, it is all related to our body, including the fitness level, nutrition, and absence of injury and illness. Mental health, it involves our mind and psychological well-being, including coping with stress and positive relationships to adapt life changes. Emotional health, it relates to our ability to recognize, express, and manage our emotions effectively.
Here an important question comes up. What is the difference between mental and emotional health? Well, emotional health talks about how you should deal with your emotions, how you should take care of your emotions. Instead of projecting them onto somebody or simply suppressing them, it's always a better idea to talk it out or communicate it out. While if we talk about mental health, it talks about our mindset, what we think, and how things like anger and stress affect our lives.
Social health is the health that we maintain in our society. As we learned in the previous session, Avni Didi came and taught us how to be healthy spiritually. Environmental health is the health that we get the positive energy or the negative energy that we receive from our environment. Occupational health and financial health are more or less the same. Financial health is regarding money, whereas occupation is regarding the job we are doing.
They talk about the behavior we have in our workspaces and what we inculcate in our lives to improve in them.
Now diving into the benefits of health, physical well-being. If we remain healthy and practice the habits that we need to remain healthy, we'll be well physically, not only physically, mentally, socially, and our productivity rate will also increase.
Let us begin with personal hygiene. Pranav, would you please throw light on that topic?
Surely, personal hygiene. Our day-to-day hygiene could be hand washing, dental care, bathing and showering, hair care, and nail hygiene. Whenever we eat food, we make sure to wash our hands before that. Dental care, we brush 2 times a day at least. Bathing and showering. Every morning or even sometimes after their workout, they bathe to let go of the negative energy or the sweat that we are in. Making healthy choices. Mainly for our health and for our sleep, for our body.
What can be some healthy choices? Basically, we are going to talk about sleep. It is noticed that most of us teenagers lack the amount of sleep we require. We at least require 8 hours to fully function, like to our most efficient level. So it is not only necessary for us to sleep for 8 hours, but also to have a good sound sleep. So it's just a suggestion from our side to make sure that you at least sleep for 6 to 8 hours every day.
For our body, we can exercise to remain healthy.
Exercise not only talks about playing a particular sport or doing any sort of workout, it also refers to just walking or moving your body essentially.
There can be many types of physical activities such as aerobic activities, strength training activities, flexibility and general exercises and workouts that we do every day. Now let us get healthy together. To be healthy together, we must know what good habits we should inculcate. As listed here,
I request all of you to please write these habits, all 14 of them. The first one talks about regular exercise. Like I said, moving our body is essential. Secondly, we talk about healthy eating. It is really important for us to follow a particular diet, and that should be balanced. It's not only important to eat everything that's healthy, but to have a balance of everything all around us. Third, like we emphasized upon, adequate sleep. It is really important to have sleep. Fourthly, we have hygiene practices. It is, if you groom yourself, you don't only inculcate a form of self-confidence, but you also make yourself look presentable in and out.
fifth, mindfulness and relaxation. Not only doing yoga and meditation, but relaxing our mind constantly. Not just all work and work, but to keep our mind healthy too. Continuous learning. We come to school daily. Most of us do at least. So learning is also a good habit to inculcate every day. Kindness and empathy. Whenever we see someone who is in need, we must help them. It is our sole duty to do so.
Compassionate being is a very important way to make yourself feel better about yourself. Gratitude practices. I hope all of you have heard about gratitude journals, where you basically at least write 5 points every day of what you're thankful for. And there are many celebrations around the world as well, where we realize the importance of the littlest things in our lives. Why do we need to have gratitude? Is because that's a way of living. It's just not a practice.
Effective communication. The talking skills and the communication skills that we learn and that we communicate with people every day is also necessary. Time management. Managing our time effectively is a very important thing in our sophomore and senior years. We must know how to manage our time and what work is our priority and what work is secondary. Self-reflection. We are what we are. We can improve ourselves and reflect ourselves in several ways. Seeking support when needed.
It's always okay to ask for help for whatever work it is, because generally all of us are going through similar things, and when we understand each other, it's going to help us out to understand what's going on in our lives better.
Setting boundaries. We must set boundaries with people that we are not very open with. Health is not only about the absence of illness, it's also the presence of good hygiene habits and positive lifestyle choices.
A fun fact here, it takes 66 days to actually produce a habit. People say it's 72, but I think that a week less would not make a difference if you have the same amount of determination. So from today, let us make a choice to inculcate a new habit to take care of ourselves, whether that be for improving our hygiene or improving our health, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, in whatever sphere you like.
Honestly, the range might matter from person to person. It can be 18 days for one, but it can also be 218 days for another. 66 is just an average number. Relationship between health and hygiene. Certainly, the simplified version is focusing solely on hand hygiene, disease prevention, personal hygiene, public health, healthcare settings, and simple and effective hand washing too.
So to sum up, what we have learned today is the basic idea of health, the types of health, the 9 types that we saw, good habits to improve upon our health, the importance of personal hygiene and relationship between the both.
Hello everyone. So we just discussed about physical health and hygiene. So when we get an illness or let's say a fracture, we go take help from our parents, from our guardian, or we seek help from a doctor if it's too serious. But when the same injury occurs in our brain, when it's a problem that we are facing mentally, what do? Bottle up our feelings or decide not to open up because we are too embarrassed or because we have the fear of being judged. But is it not fair? If we give our body the treatment where we let our body seek help, why not do the same for our brain? So let's learn about the importance of mental health and how we can improve it as teenagers.
Talking about mental health and emotional health. Basically, mental health refers to our overall mental being, mental well-being. And it really is an important part because most of us forget the importance of our mental health. We take a lot of stress, we bottle up our feelings, and so many other bad practices just to keep our life at ease. But really, it will be rather better if we take care of these emotions since the beginning.
Okay, being a teen can be an amazing time of discovery, learning, and friendship. But it's also a time of rapid change. A lot of us feel mood swings, we get cranky easily, very irritable at times. But why does this happen only during teenage? Why is it more in teenagers compared to adults? Any answers?
Why is only we as teenagers are told to control our emotions everywhere? Anybody, any answer? Feel free to raise your hands up.
No, Sen Bhaiya is there.
Since we're going through the transition period, all of us, there are mostly emotional changes happening in our body, physical changes happening in our body, and one of them is like in mental change, I mean hormonal changes. One of them is emotions. That's why we are told as teenagers to control our emotions because at this stage hormones are at the growth spurt and all of those things. So that's why.
Perfectly correct. This is what I would be discussing, but you summarized it perfectly. So puberty begins in the hypothalamus, where a protein called kisspeptin is produced, triggering the pituitary gland to unleash the hormone testosterone, estrogen, and progesterone. Yeah, these hormones are as complex as their spellings are. These activate the ovaries and testes, but also cause you to seek emotionally charged experiences, which is why teenagers are more likely to indulge into risky habits, maybe driving in full speed or substance abuse. The area of the brain responsible for planning ahead and assessing risk is still immature in teenagers, which is why teens are more likely to participate in high-risk behavior like drinking and driving. Now, I am not saying this just scientifically, it is based off of research. For instance, there was this one research where it was noticed that when adults and teenagers, they drive their vehicles, they exercise the same amount of risks when driving alone. But when both of them are put in an environment where their friends are there, teenagers tend to take more risks. And what is the reason for that? The reason is peer acceptance. So peer acceptance is something that plays a very huge role on the mental health of teenagers. We need to realize that we need to have a sense of individualism and self-realization and not just focus on getting acceptance from others. The day we'll be confident about our own selves is the day we will stop seeking peer acceptance.
It's always important to keep your conscious before your comfort level in a social setting. Just because you want to fit in, that does not mean you will do anything that can potentially cause a lot of problems to your life. Let us continue with our topic of health, mental one.
So what causes mental illnesses? There are various causes and there is no reason to feel scared when you face one because there can be multiple reasons and you are not the right person to judge it. Always seek professional help. So various reasons for them can be genetics. Children whose parents have faced mental issues like OCD, etc. have a 50% more chance of facing them in comparison to people whose parents were not suffering with them. Childhood trauma. Delayed responses to trauma can include sleep disorders, nightmares. Unhealthy habit, constant negative thinking, and bad habits like substance abuse can cause mental illnesses. Your environment. Maybe you're in an environment where there's a death of a loved one, or you're in an environment where there's a lot of stress. Such environments can cause mental illnesses. Negative thoughts, negative attitudes and feelings of helplessness, which are very commonly occurring in teenagers because, like my friend here rightly said, because of the hormones. So there's no need to get scared. These are very normal. These happen with almost everyone, and it's not a shame to seek help. And stress. Obviously, exams, a very big stress for all of us, can cause anxiety, but there are healthy ways to cope with them, which we'll be discussing.
Examples of mental health first aid. I request all of you to please note these down. The first one is to listen. All of us know that there is a slight resistance when we come to our years of adolescence, but it is really important for us to take in what advice we get from others, because in some way they must have also felt this in their previous experiences.
When we are facing a lot of emotions, it's difficult to look at a situation with the right mindset. When we are having those bursts of emotions, it's good to have a third person who can look at it from a practical approach rather than an emotional one. Because we as people, we don't tend to respond to the things that happen to us, but we react. We need to learn to respond rather than reacting. So when we know that we're in a situation where we might not react rationally, it's always good to have a third party or talk, vent yourself out to them.
It's not only about having a third party around you, but also being the shoulder to somebody. It is important to give support to people when they are feeling down as well, because that will make you feel compassionate and will also make you think that you had made a difference today in somebody else's life.
Don't judge. Sometimes we are listening to other people and their problems seem a little too small in front of ours, or their problems just seem a little irrational to be upset about. That does not mean that we have the right to invalidate their feelings. All emotions are valid.
It is a saying that somebody who is buried 6 feet under is as dead as somebody who is buried 12 feet under. So it is not a good idea to actually compare what our lives are. Rather, it's the best idea to actually give them support from whatever they are facing.
Professional help. In case your friend is doing or indulging in certain activities because of their mental health, which you cannot help with. For instance, it's suicidal tendencies or self-harm. You should always have them seek professional help. It is very difficult for the people who are facing these issues to go ahead and seek help. But with your support, they surely can.
The 3 steps to mental well-being. Number 1, mindfulness. It is important for us to not only think but remain thoughtful. Thoughtful in the sense accepting the surroundings around us, accepting ourselves as individual beings, and embracing the positiveness inside us. It is also important for us to really accept our insecurities, move ahead, and understand see the beauty of life that lies inside. It is also important to connect and remain active, like we said in our previous slides.
Okay, now that we have learned about the importance of mental health, let's discuss how to take care of it as well. So, next slide. Unplug. Usually when we face issues or we get irritable or we need help, we start scrolling reels. That is not the solution. That is a very temporary solution which is not substantial in the future. Because it is not going to help you, it is just a temporary source of dopamine. Next up, we have call a friend. Communicating always helps. Instead of bottling your feelings up, let it out. See a doctor. Like we said previously, if there is some activity that you're indulging in, like self-harm or something that is not right or something you cannot help with, always seek professional help. 4th, stay active. Being active helps boost serotonin in your body. Even though it can seem a task at first, but gradually when you form a habit, you will start noticing changes in your body. You will start feeling more active. You will start feeling more productive. Okay, everyone, please give one compliment to the person who is sitting beside you.
We are doing this session really good today. That's a compliment. Thank you.
Do you all feel better after hearing a compliment or giving one? See, so having a positive outlook or having positive reassurance really helps. But that validation should not be limited to your peers. You should be capable enough of being positive with your own thoughts as well. Because you cannot expect others to love you unless you love yourselves. So having a positive thinking is very important. Take a walk in the nature. Go for a walk, disconnect, unplug from social media. Hug someone. Now if you don't have someone, hug a pillow. But hugging someone really helps. It's very soothing. Spend time with your furry friend. You can always hug your furry friends because they have no tantrums. They will listen to you. They will not judge you because they won't understand. And the most they'll do is bark at you or meow. Then we have exercise. Exercise, like I said before, staying active always helps. It boosts serotonin. Then we have get enough sleep. Like Yashasvi and Pranav emphasized on getting enough sleep for physical health, it is just as important for mental health. Keep a gratitude journal. In our day-to-day lives, we tend to get very negative. We nag about things. But in the end of the day, if we write down what we are grateful for, it always helps. Okay, so everyone, please note down how you feel about these situations that are listed above.
So, how do you feel when you're praised for something good and how do you feel when you're not included in a game or event, or when you feel when you're essentially left out from a friend group?
What do you feel when you get your maths problems correct? Please note it down. Okay. How do you feel when you win a game? When you're home alone or having an argument with your best friend? When you get a hug from your parents? When you're told that you're useless and will never be successful in life? Who said happy? Okay. When you're accused of something that you're not, that you did not do. So what did we do right here? We labeled our emotions. Why is labeling our emotions so important? Mental health is associated with a person's overall mental well-being. It includes rational thinking, decision making, and managing difficult situations. On the other hand, emotional health is related to the ability to manage your mood and feelings. So, labeling emotions help us because once we label our emotions and know that what is triggering these emotions or what is making us feel upset, the next time we face the same feelings, we can look at it from a practical approach rather than an overly emotional one.
Only when we understand our emotions, we are truly capable to deal with them.
Okay, so now we have an activity. Guess the meme. Absolutely correct. It's Rashi Thi. What is the second meme? Absolutely correct. What is the other meme over there? Absolutely correct again.
I don't understand.
Absolutely correct. And the last one. Absolutely correct again. So now that I've seen your enthusiasm, you have more knowledge about memes than your health and hygiene. That is not something to be proud of. But don't worry, we'll help you understand about everything. So, your enthusiasm could tell that you all know a lot about social media. Because only someone who's so active on social media would know all of these memes. But social media has a huge impact on our mental health. So, let's read about that. How teens use social media can be irresponsible at times. Viewing content which shows illegal activities like vandalism, viewing content which shows self-harm or harming others, or viewing explicit content. All of this can have a huge impact on a teenager's mental well-being.
Not only does it, actually promote things that are not good, but it also builds a sense of insecurity and makes us compare our lives to others. How beautiful somebody's life might seem on social media is not the reality.
Something very common in teenagers is stress posting. We get angry, we get upset, and we just start. We burst off on Twitter, we start posting stories about it. There are emotional reels with emotional songs in the background. That is not right, because that is something that we will regret later. So we should always avoid stress posting and always think before we share anything on social media. So what are the ways to use social media mindfully? First, be mindful. So when there's a bag of chips kept on your desk or Pringles, you keep eating it without realizing and you finish the whole packet. Same thing happens with social media, because we mindlessly scroll reels without realizing that we have passed an hour. Everyone please note these down. Just the headers. So take a mini break. Have a few hours assigned where you don't use your phone. Disassociating from the digital world is really important. Take every post with a grain of salt. Stop comparing your lives with social media. That girl whose skin is flawless might just be filters. So we should always keep in mind to be confident with ourselves and not compare us with the real world. Instead, compare with the real world, the real inspirations instead of social media. Be a good example. If there's a content that is not supposed to be on social media, instead of encouraging it, you should report it. And the last one, get rid of notifications. When your phone is always pinging with notifications, it really distracts you from your day-to-day works. Especially when I'm studying. For me, when I'm studying and I see a notification pop up, I always run on social media and I forget about studying. So getting rid of notifications might seem like a small thing, but it has a very huge impact in the long run. You'll be less distracted and more disassociated from social media. So that is it for today. Yashasvi, would you like to sum it up?
So today we started the session with health and hygiene, where we talked about important hygiene practices, health practices, what health exactly is and types of health. We talked about grooming and its necessity, and then we came up to the topic of emotional and mental health, something that it was really important to teach to everybody. Then we started by understanding what mental health was. We had a glimpse of emotional health, the importance of labeling emotions and what emotions are. We had an activity where we identified different emotions that we'd have in a particular situation. We played the game Guess the Meme, and we understood how attached we are to our phones and social media. Then we went ahead to understand the importance of keeping social media aside in our life, and the importance of prioritizing other things before it. Then we also saw some ways to actually prioritize our work before social media, such as being mindful and being a good example, and just use stop notifications. So with this life skill session, I hope all of us understood the necessity of having a mindful day, of how to express our feelings, how to take care of ourselves in overall.
Everyone please rise for the national anthem.
Wait. Sit. After. Samir sir.
We request everybody to be seated at this particular moment.
करने के बाद
Okay. Everyone, please rise for the national anthem and pay tribute to our nation.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्जल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
भारत माता की जय वंदे